Hello, welcome to SMART Sessions Ladibug Edition Part 2. I'm your host, Robert Rocha. Today, we're going to be looking at some additional features of how to use your Ladibug camera in your classroom. Now, if you have not seen Part 1 of our video series, please go and watch that, because I go and show you how to download the software from mylumens.com and how to use that software with your Ladibug camera. It makes it a lot more convenient to use, again, in your classroom. Now, the version of Ladibug that I'm using today is going to be 2.0. The version you may have may be a little bit different depending on the model number that you have on your camera. Basically, all the software works the same. However, the 2.0 version has a few more features, but if you have a legacy model of a document camera, not to worry, everything still works basically the same. Now, how do you know which kind of version of Ladibug do you have? If you go to your Ladibug camera and you turn it upside down, you're going to see a nameplate down here, and it'll have the model number right there. And this one says DC158, and that's how I know what model number to look up on the Lumens website. So you may have another model number, DC133 or DC something, but DC158 is what we're using in EPISD currently. So that's how I know. Now, one of the really neat things you probably noticed right now is I have these little outriggers, these little feet that come out, and so that allows my document camera to be more stable on my desk. When I go to different classrooms and visit, a lot of teachers are not aware of that they have these little outriggers, and so that makes it really convenient now. So when it's on your desk, it won't be easily toppled over. It kind of stabilizes your document camera in your classroom. So make sure you use those different features that are built in. So now, guys, let's go ahead and try to use our Ladibug camera with our microscope. Now, if you remember back from our very first video series, I need to turn on the camera itself, so I can turn it either on by hitting the red button here, which I'm going to go ahead and do, and it's going to turn up to a blue light, and when it does a steady blue light, that lets me know that it's working properly. And so let me go ahead and have that turned on. It's warming up. There we go. And now just steady blue, my camera's ready to work with my computer. So now I'm going to go back to my computer screen, and I'm going to look for my Ladibug icon. And mine's a picture of a Ladibug, and it says Ladibug 2.0. Yours may have a picture of an eye and may say some other type of name on that, and that's okay. That's just, again, a legacy version of that software. So I'm going to double click on that to open up my floating toolbar. And so I've got a little window here, and I've got my Ladibug on this upper right-hand corner. And so I want to go and turn on my camera by clicking on the upper left-hand magnifying glass with the paper, and that's going to produce the image of my camera. And so what I want to go and do, if you remember from our first video, is we have to kind of auto-tune the lighting in our classroom here. So I'm going to take my Ladibug, I'm going to zoom it in on this piece of paper, and if you look at my image on my computer screen, it's kind of washed out. But if I go and click on the auto-tune button, which is the second button on the first row, second column, if I click on that, it's going to auto-tune that image here just for me in just a few seconds. And you can see it's slowly getting the image back up there. It's working. And there it goes. Let me click it one more time. And now I'm getting a better image. Let me see if I can move that in a little bit closer. And that happens, guys, every once in a while. Technology always works a little bit different than when you want it to. Nothing wrong with that. So go back and re-auto-tune that again. And let's see what happens there. And there it goes. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of time. But now I've got a good image on that. And so now I'm ready to actually connect my Lumens camera onto my microscope here. Now, when your Lumens does come with an adapter, an eyepiece adapter for your microscope, and it's a little threaded piece here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this onto my actual camera. So I'm going to go and turn this upside down here so you can kind of see. And I'm going to go ahead and take that and screw that part in here. And so now I've got the adapter set on here. And so the next thing I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to actually move my document camera to go on top of my microscope. Now, I'll be quite honest with you guys, this does take a little bit of practice to actually perfect that image. So if you don't get it on the first try, don't panic. It just takes a little bit of time because you're trying to get that camera to line up just right. And there it goes. I've got the image. I've kind of had to tilt the camera a little bit on that particular piece. Now, if you probably noticed when we're on the above shot, I do have a gel on top of my particular microscope, and that's because I have a lot of lighting here in this TV studio. That would not require you to do that in your classroom. Don't put anything on top of that microscope because if it's not fireproof, it'll go ahead and catch on fire. So I only have this here because of the lighting inside the studio. You will not need that in your classroom. So once I've got my image perfected and looking correctly, I can go back to my computer and I can see that image. I'm going to go ahead and blow it up here so I can see it better. And so it's a little bit out of focus. So what I can go and do now is, one of the reasons is it's still thinking it's looking at a document and not through a microscope. So I have to go to a settings on my Ladibug and change that from the regular setting to a microscope setting. So when I click on the Ladibug icon and I go to my third column, third row, it's a picture of like a little piece of paper. It's green, and I click on that, and that's going to be my camera settings. And so here I've got two tabs. One says Basic and one says Advanced. I want to click on the Advanced tab, and here where it says Mode on the very bottom right, you have a drop-down menu. Right now it says Normal, and I want to go and change that to being a microscope. And as you can see, you have other ones for slide or film or so I'm going to choose the microscope here. And so now you can see it kind of recalibrates itself for that particular image. And if I go back to Basic and go back to Auto Tune, I should get a better image on that. Let me click on that one more time. And there it goes. It's perfecting that image. And see, now it looks a lot better than it did before. So now we've got a really great image on that particular piece. So to close up that box, I click on the X here. And now I can view the image to all of my class. Now, what's really great about this now is if I go back to the Ladibug and I still want to zoom in a little bit more, I can click on the first column, second row, the purple icon with the magnifying glass. If I click on that one here, I can even go and zoom in a little more in that particular picture. And I can keep zooming in as much as I like. Now, what's really great about this, too, is I can go back to using my remote control, because remember, your Ladibug camera does come with a remote control. I can click on Pan, and I can go ahead and now I can pan, and sometimes it takes a little while for this to work, but that's okay. There it goes. I think it's going to work now. And I can pan anywhere on that particular microscope to go and perfect my image that I have on that. So I'm using the pan button and the arrow buttons to go ahead and do that. So that's a really neat feature that you can use for your classroom. Now you may ask yourself, okay, I can use that, but can I use it with my smartboard? I believe the answer is yes. So I think there's two ways we can do that. So if I just have to go up here and I pick up a pen, I can go ahead, I should be able to start writing up, and there it goes. It's going to write on that. So let me go ahead and erase that particular piece here. Oh, it's not recognizing that. And for some reason, my board's not recognizing my erasing on that. So that's quite all right. That's going to happen from time to time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go to my floating toolbar. I should go back to my smartboard to do that. And we put my pen down here. And I need to be a cursor again, but it's not working. That's okay. I'll just go back over here to my laptop and redo this again. Main thing, guys, these things are going to happen in your classroom. Main thing is don't panic. You're always going to be in control. We can erase everything we did here. There we go. And I'm trying to erase as best I can. A little bit of patience goes a long way. Click there. Now, one of the really neat things is, guys, is I showed you how you can write on it using the floating toolbar on my Smart Notebook. But on my Smart Board. But let's say I wanted to put this picture into Smart Notebook. How can I do that? Well, probably the easiest way to do it is if I open up my floating toolbar, you're going to see I have a camera capture. And if I click on that, there I go, you'll see that I've got a cross here, so I'm floating around here. And let's say I just wanted to picture this little area that's right here. I can then simply click and drag that picture. And when I let go, it takes a snapshot and it puts it automatically into Smart Notebook. Now, the tip here, guys, that I should have talked to you a little bit earlier was that Smart Notebook is a really large file. It's a really big program. So when you open it up, I would open up that program before I wanted to use that camera capture. So I already had that done on my computer, so it put in the image very quickly. If you didn't have it on, you may have to take the picture twice because, again, as it's loading up that software, it takes me about a minute or so to load up. It may lose its idea of what it had to go and do. It may lose that image. So we have to go back and retake that picture. But now you can see I have Smart Notebook, and I've got all of my toolbars that I want to go ahead and use with Smart Notebook if I wanted to mark up or do anything with that particular image. So let me go ahead and add another page here to Smart Notebook. There I go. I'm going to add a blank page. But let's say I didn't want a picture. I wanted kind of a live image. Now, since we're using Smart Notebook, there's kind of a workaround that we're going to go ahead and use. Since I have a Ladibug camera and not a Smart Document camera, if I wanted to put that image and use it with Smart Notebook, another option for us to use is called the transparency mode. So let me go ahead and minimize this just for a moment. And as you can see here, I've got my full version of my Ladibug camera. If I go and put back Smart Notebook, and I go to my screen in my upper left-hand side, it says View Screens. If I click on that, and I go to Transparency Background, now you can see I have my floating toolbar, and I can go and use it with that particular piece. So I can go back to my smartboard, and now again I can grab a whole different types of pens I wanted to grab. I can go to a different highlighter. I can use a crown, all the different sort of pens that I might have in my particular classroom or what I want to use. But in addition, though, I can also grab a ruler. Let me see if I can get that to work for me here. And now I can add a ruler, and I can measure that particular specimen if I wanted to measure that, or I wanted to measure anything else I had underneath my document camera. So that's a really great feature of how you can implement the two of your Ladibug camera and Smart Notebook in your classroom. So that's a really neat feature. So let me go and close this up here. And let me go ahead and close up my Smart Notebook just for a few minutes here. I'm going to put here a note that I want to save that particular piece. And I'm going to go ahead and minimize or close up this window. I'm going to minimize it here. There we go. And one thing I didn't mention to you guys, if you look up here, how do I know what mode I'm in? If I look back at my camera, my screen over here, you can see in the upper right-hand corner I have a picture of a microscope letting me know that I'm under the microscope view. So if I was done with that, let's say I'm finished here, I can take off the piece here, unscrew my particular piece. There I go. I unscrewed it there. I can go back to my document mode by clicking that document here. And again, if I want to perfect that screen, I have to go back to my settings just to make sure that I'm no longer under the microscope mode. So I'm going to go back and be the normal mode. And so again, I'll take you that one more time. I'm going to click on my camera settings, click on that green icon. I'm going to go to my advanced, and I'm going to choose under the mode, I'm going to choose that as being normal, and I can close that out here. And now I'm back to my camera mode. I go back to auto tune, and I can go and do that. Okay. Now, another way you can use your Ladibug document camera in your classroom is one way you probably never thought of. Is let's say you're doing some type of video conferencing with your class, you're using Skype or some other form of video conferencing. You can use your Lumens camera in order to use that as your main camera that you have on your classroom. So let me go ahead and close this up here real quickly. I'm going to do that. And so now let's go ahead and see, let me go and open up Skype. That tends to be a very popular website to use in order to communicate or to kind of do video conferencing in your classroom. So I'm going to click on Skype here. And so I went ahead and already logged in. And so to change our camera from being our built-in webcam into our Ladibug is I'm going to go to my Tools feature and go to Options. And on the left-hand side where it says Video Settings, I click on that. And of course, mine's set to V2 automatically, but normally it'll be a USB video device. And so here it's my webcam. I'm going to switch to being my Visual Presenter V2. And so now when I click in this direction, I can use this to kind of show different things in my TV studio. And right away, it worked pretty well. I got my image up just correctly. But on your Ladibug remote, sometimes you may have to hit the rotate button, and I should be able to rotate it in different directions depending on how you have your camera set up to be just right. Now, if you have issues with your Ladibug camera and it's not rotating, one of the best things to go ahead and do, guys, and that's always advised for any type of technology problem, is always reboot it. Turn it off and restart it again, and everything should work properly. So now, if I wanted to call anyone on my list, I click on Save, and I can call anyone here that's on green, and I could have a video conference with them using my Ladibug camera. So that's a really neat feature that a lot of people weren't aware of that they could use. Or a lot of people say, how do I do video conferencing in my classroom? I got this little small webcam. Well, now you can use your Ladibug camera to do that for you, to do that job for you, and it does it very well, as you can see. So guys, I hope you liked this particular video edition of Ladibug Part 2. Stay tuned for some more features, and we'll show you more things we can do with the Ladibug camera and other things we can do with Smartboard and other products we use here at EPISD. Make sure you like us on YouTube, and make sure you like us on Facebook at EPISD TV Studios. All right, then have a great day.